Hey guys, sorry I'm a little late today. Just got done with a phone call with a possible partner, so it's it's been a good day. It's been a good day. Uh, Gonna give it a minute for some people to join on. This is our live event on YouTube. There's not as many people here compared to Instagram. Instagram normally we have like 60 to 100 people. This is kind of new for me, so you guys get to ask as many questions as you want. You get more of my attention here, so it's a great opportunity for you guys to ask your questions and get them answered. Uh, just a quick recap of this week. A really great week. I actually just came back from Canes a little while ago, bought more furniture for the 2 bedroom, 1 bath. I already have that pre-rented out for 2 separate weeks, and that's $3,000 just for 2 weeks. So it's awesome. And then we'll have the studio part of the 3-2 combo that we're going to be furnishing as well. A lot of people that want to rent out some of the studios. I got one of the coaches for the Blue Jays wanting to rent it out for 2 months, and we're renting it out, giving him $2,000 per month. So it's definitely going in the right direction. And you just gotta basically keep chugging along. We're coming towards the end of the project, where kind of a lot of unforeseen expenses come up, as you guys know, with the foundation roof that we had before. Now we're doing all the wiring and electrical, and we're putting in the best AC units, and they cost a lot of money. But by being consistent and being faithful and pushing forward despite all the issues, you're gonna get to the good stuff. So that's happening, and maybe some of the good stuff, or some of the stuff that you don't see, is like what I'm doing is I'm literally putting every penny I have into this project. All my cash I put into this deal. All of my line of credits I put into this deal. I have about 300,000 in line of credits. I had about about 200,000 in cash that I put into this deal. Sold some properties, put that money into this deal, and I went all in. I decided from initially to go from a soft remodel, from just smaller stuff and get regular tenants in, to decided to go all in, all out, the nicest stuff, as you guys saw on Instagram, to build the value, to build that value, because I know it's the finishes, it's the extra, it's that wow factor that really sells people. So I'm not afraid. I put everything I got into this, and I'm really excited about the results, because that kind of shows my faith. A lot of people kind of say, hey, I don't know how you do it. But when you know what you're doing, and you're confident in what you're doing, and you're faithful in what you're doing, and you can't let yourself doubt it, and you can't be negative about it. You just got to walk forward in faith to make it happen. So I basically put it all in, and basically as I did that, I started to, obviously I was running out of money, and then I got one person to prepay me for 9 months in full for one unit. And now I got a company, Healthier Stay, that wants to prepay me 12 months in full for a unit. And then I have all these Airbnbs. I'm getting $3,000 a month for a 1 bedroom, $2,000 for a studio. So all this money's coming in and helping finish up the project and get things going. So it's all that faith, and also I have a property that I'm selling for and making a lot of money on that, and I'm going to dump that into this deal too. So a lot of times, as a beginner, you really shouldn't do as hardcore as I went, but you should still walk forward in faith. And how do you get that faith, and how you get strong in it, is by running deal after deal again and again. And by doing that, you're going to build your confidence, and you're going to be able to go forward when other people won't. And you'll be able to get the results and the rewards that other people don't for that faith. So thank you guys for joining and watching. Feel free to put your questions in the comment section to my right, maybe it's your left, I don't know. I'll be happy to answer it. I did have a question that was brought to me, and the one question was, how does an investment with a line of credit work, right? And how does that, what are some of the pros and cons of it, right? So I'm going to start out with the cons. The cons, obviously, when you take money out on a line of credit, you're paying interest on that money. So there's interest that you're paying. And you're collateralizing your house to make a payment. So God forbid you're not confident in the deal, and it is not a solid deal, you could forfeit your house for that investment. So that's a con. The pro is, there's a couple of pro factors. One pro is the interest you deduct on your line of credit is can be tax deductible on your schedule, on your itemized deductions. Another part is if you don't use it towards an itemized deduction, you can elect or attempt to use it towards your expenses associated to investments. That's another way for you to be able to use those those funds, or use those expenses. Now, when you're able, what you're basically doing is leveraging your money to do it. So say you had money in the stock market or other investments and you're like, wow, they're really doing well. I want to leverage my home equity and not give up on these great stocks, or pay the taxes due on the gains from those stocks. Is an option to then again use your home equity line of credit. Sometimes it's advisable and safer to just sell the stocks and use that instead of the line of credit. But having a line of credit as a backup when something really great comes by and you don't want it to let go is a really good option, right? Each person must assess their scenario to see how it's going to work for them. But if you're going to go and find a deal, and let's just say the deal is worth, say, $500,000, and for some reason you get someone that's willing to sell it, like let's talk about the Safety Harbor project. The Safety Harbor project, I knew it was worth over $2 million. I mean, this is how I assessed it. Land alone, half an acre in downtown Safety Harbor is worth $1 million. There's 4 lots on that property. You can make 4 lots out of that property. And the going rate is a minimum of $250,000 per lot. That's $1 million in land value. Then you add in the fact that there is 7,000 heated square feet. 7,000 heated square feet on the low end is worth $150,000 per square foot. That gives you a price of roughly $1,050,000. Total cost, $2,050,000. And that's not considering the fact that if it's fully remodeled and really nice, prices in those areas go for $300 a square foot for those properties. So, it's definitely a lot of value that's there. And those are for regular rental prices. I mean, if you go for Airbnb and those other higher income stays, you get a larger return. So on an Airbnb factor, it's worth probably like 4.2 million, at least that much. So basically what I said getting to is this. If you know your market, like I just explained how I knew my market and I ran those numbers quickly in my head, I jumped on it and bought it. And you need to be that same way. And you need to, what you need to do is prepare yourself today for that thing that might happen tomorrow. Because I'm telling you, I've been where you're at, where you're like, oh my God, this is an amazing deal. And I didn't have the money for it. And I was kicking myself. Like last year, I lost a triplex in downtown Dunedin that I could have bought for $155,000 because I didn't have the money immediately to buy it and pay cash for that property. I was this close from it, but I missed out on that. I also missed out on a 6-unit in downtown Dunedin that the owner was selling for $500,000, and he would have held paper with only $100,000 down. Those deals come up and gone within like the day. So you have to be ready to jump on them, and it kind of burns when you miss it. So you can't always get those deals, right? They're very rare, and only certain players can get it. Like people that know they're good for it. Those realtors aren't going to just deal with anybody. And a lot of times you got to pay cash. So if you don't have the money ready, or you don't have a partner that has the ready or has the kind of clout that people are going to listen to, it's going to be hard to get those deals. So make sure that you're out there not only knowing what you're saying, so you can build those relationships with the right people and get those deals as well. All it comes down to is know your market, right? And also know the stability of your market. So I'll give you some examples. A lot of downtown Tampa, downtown St. Pete, downtown Miami, I'm very cautious on not investing there because I'm concerned that when the market tanks, all those brand new, super nice townhouses and condos are building there's going to be so many of them. And even another area that I'm around is Trinity, Florida. There's going to be so many new homes that they're going to be flooded with builders trying to get rid of them, new homeowners that lost their job trying to get rid of them. Normally when there's a lot of market issues, people get divorced and they're trying to get rid of their homes, and there's going to be so much for sale that there's not going to be enough buyers. So I'm buying an area that are, 1, vacation areas that are very strong, have very wealthy people living there, and 2, blue-collar areas that people are always going to want to work and live in because they're close to everything, and they have amazing school systems. If you stick to that, downtown core rich areas, downtown core areas where families want to be, or blue-collar areas with good school districts, you have such strong background supporting your deals. Thank you guys for hearing me out. I wanted to give this information to you because I want you all to benefit and grow. And if you liked what I had to say, smash the like button, and more good stuff will come. More good stuff will come. So now I'm going to go to the questions here to the right and answer your questions. So the first question is what would you suggest the best investing for a teen? The best investing for a teen is invest in yourself. I spend a lot of time reading books, a lot of times running around doing free stuff for people because I didn't have the money to pay them, just so I can learn from them. Because you want something, give first. You give first, you will get. Invest in yourself, because if you don't know what something is worth, it doesn't matter how much money you have. There is a lot of professional athletes, actresses, actors, people that hit the lotto, that go bankrupt. 95% lose all their money within 5 years of them completing their profession. Or if they hit the lotto within 5 years, 95% are gone, or they lose all their money. And the reason is because they don't understand how to invest, or they didn't build up the right team. So along the way, you can build up a good accountant that you can trust. You can build up these people that you can trust and learn and add to your team. Because if someone will steal $5 from you, he'll steal $5 million from you. If someone will not steal $1 from you, it's unlikely they'll steal $1 million. Unlikely they'll steal $1 million from you. So you got to have a team that you'll trust and that's honest and transparent. Same thing with lying. Lying, cheating, and stealing is basically the same. So as long as you're just fully transparent, like if someone just told me something like, hey, I don't like you, and unless you give me this much money, I don't want to continue working with you, I'll actually respect that person more because they told me the truth and you're not going to steal, right? This one lawyer, professor, that said this. He said, be wary of any client that says it doesn't matter what the price is. Because that client is not planning to pay your bill when it comes due. The client that's negotiating regarding the deal that they're getting, you actually want that person because they have planned to pay you. So you got to reconfigure the way you think, because if it's glittering, it doesn't matter. It doesn't automatically mean it's gold. So be cautious about that. So next question is, how does the BMW i8 feel? Honestly, it's sick. I mean, 0 to 60 so fast, and you at 130, you don't feel it. Handles like you wouldn't believe. Now, when it's raining, I don't go that fast, but even when it's raining, I'm going 80. It doesn't slip, doesn't anything. Grips like amazing. It's like honestly an amazing car. 42 miles per gallon. Gas electric hybrid. It's beautiful. 5 years old, and it's still futuristic looking. It's a great car. I like it a lot. Great question. Kelly Forbes says, I'm working on a bank-owned property. They're asking $39,000 and I offer $32,000. They accepted. I'm planning on flipping this first deal. Once I get $120K profit, then go after rental units. That's awesome. I mean, $120K profit on a property you're buying for $32,000. That's awesome. I mean, I'm not sure how much you're investing into this deal, but it's probably a lot of money. It's probably a lot of money to make that type of profit. Next question comes in: how to get a mortgage letter with 2 investor partners? Any suggestion? Contacts in Tampa. So, how to get a mortgage letter with 2 investor partners? It's not really that hard. If you call a broker, a mortgage broker will get you a letter. It's really not that hard. I meant a pre-qualification letter. I understand what you meant. A pre-qual letter is really not hard when you go with the broker, because when you're talking to a broker, you're gonna end up making a relationship with them, and they're gonna do some background search to help you figure out exactly what you want you to waste your time and not get a deal, and they don't want to waste their time and not get a deal, because they only get paid if you buy something, right? So they want to make sure you're going to buy something, and they're not going to set you up for failure, because there's a lot of mortgage brokers out there that will help you that are good. So just keep your eye out on that, and you'll be able to do it. Just Give them everything. Do not, everybody, listen to me. Do not keep anything from your broker, okay? They need to know everything, because if you tell them everything, they'll be able to figure out a solution. If you don't, it will be found out on week 4, 3 days before closing, and your deal could go to shit. Okay? It's gonna be found out. So just say it up front and they'll figure out a solution. But don't try to hide anything. And I mean, just be fully transparent. And 2, if you're gonna buy any property and get a loan, do not get any types of new credit. Don't get a new car, don't get a new credit card, don't get anything new. Finish the property, close on the property, get it in your name, then do whatever else you need to do. Okay? If you like that information, smash the like button. So Renee says, my man Pascal, salute. Martin says, when looking at a property profile, which in your experience is the best route to follow, cash flow or capital gains? So I look at both. Honestly, I look at both. So initially, right, like for example, in the Safety Harbor project, it had no cash flow at all. It was nothing. But I knew if I bought it, remodeled it, and then got it rented, it would bring in a lot of cash flow. And then I would do a cash out refinance, and then it would be the cash on cash return on my new balance would be good. So that's where it works out, you know. So I look at both, right? And the other part of this is that depending on where you live, it differs, right? So like in New Jersey, your cash flow on a rental property is really bad. New York is like really bad. So you might be looking for capital gains, and that's a state that more times or not, you're more flipping than you are renting on cash flow. Or if you are going to be doing it, you're going to be doing a BRRRR method. You're going to buy a property that you would normally flip, but instead of flipping it, you're going to be doing all the work and then doing a cash out refinance, and then the cash flow would make sense on that. But buying something that's already finished, there's not much profit in it. And I mean, in New Jersey, New York, you're only getting half the cap rates in a good area, like Chicago, LA, San Francisco. You're getting half the cap rates as in Florida. So it's even worse in a cash flow basis. Capital gains, if you buy in a good area, they're going to be all about the same. So just make sure that you're playing the game. Because again, if you can start doing it with duplex, you can do it for a 20 unit, right? It's just about managing the remodel and managing the tenants. So once you build up the skill set, you'll be able to grow and be able to stomach more and more. Patience, time, grit. You'll get there. Kelly Forbes says, the local properties are selling in that area for $95 to $130. I'm investing in the whole house, putting in 10 to 15K in updates. Kelly, I don't know where you're finding a deal like that. That's a sick deal. If you're buying it for 32 and investing 15, you're in for 47,000, and you're going to sell it for 130. That means you're going to be making like, a sick amount of money. Like $80,000 is a great amount of money. It's extremely. I've never seen a deal like that. Let's put it like that. I've never seen a deal like that. The one property I bought in Dunedin for $100,000, I end up putting in $100,000 into it, and then end up selling it for like $240. And it took me a year and a half because of all the permits and licensing and everything to get it done. So you're pulling those type of deals. You're going to find a ton of people willing to throw money at you and get in on you. So, go for it, Kelly. But know what you're getting yourself into. Definitely know what you're getting yourself into. Because if it's so bad, the city might make you bulldoze it and rebuild from scratch. And build cost, at least around me, is a minimum 150 a square foot. So you could be in a sticky situation if it doesn't go the way you want it to go. So be cautious. But it sounds like a good deal. Abe says, thank you so much, Pascal. You're welcome, Abe. Timideo says, what are the things to consider before buying with hard money, and what are the pros and cons? So the cons first, right? Because I'm going to go cons first, because hard money is like juggling with knives on fire, right? If you don't know how to juggle, don't try to juggle with knives on fire, right? But if you're an amazing juggler and wearing fire retardant clothes, then yeah, go ahead for it. So this is what it is. Hard money loans usually start at 15%. If you have a lot of history in flipping, you can get them as low as 10%. Upfront points are 3 points, sometimes as low as 1.5 point. What does a point mean? Point means the full amount of the loan percentage, right? So 1 point of $100,000 loan is $1,000. So if they're charging you 3 points up front, that's $3,000 up front just to give you the loan, plus they're going to charge you 15% interest. And normally those loans are only good for 6 months, and then if you take longer than 6 months to buy it, fix it, and sell it, they're going to charge you more points in 6 months to extend the loan. So you better be good at buying a deal, good at remodeling a deal, and good at selling a deal fast. Because what will happen is all your money will be eaten up in interest if you don't do it fast enough. And if it goes wrong, you might be upside down on a deal, right? So that's the cons of it. The pros are, if you're good at this, you can get a hard money loan with only 10% down on property, and they'll fund 90% of the remodel budget, and only have to put out 10% out of your pocket. So you could be in for $100,000 property plus $50,000 remodel. All in, you could only have to spend $15,000 out of your pocket to do this deal, right? So you only have to put up $15,000. They cover the rest of it. Another point though is this: even though they cover 90% of the remodel, normally what they'll do is they'll make you pay for it first. So you have to pay for the remodel cost, material, people, through your credit card or through your checking account. Then you submit to get your money back for it, and then they'll give you the money back. So even though you're only putting in 15, you're like, oh, they're going to put up the rest. You're still going to need another 15 to 20,000 to flow the project until you get them to pay you back. So you must be careful on that to make sure that you still have enough money. Don't go all the way up to here with like your cash and putting out and have nothing left over, right? You need to be in a position to keep things going. So those are that's the cons. This is the pro, because you can do deals with very little money out of your pocket. Again, juggling knives on fire. You need to be able to be good at everything in the game. Every part of the game you must be good at. Buying right, remodeling right, at a good cost, and sell it quickly to make money, because debt can be good if it works out good, and it can be bad if it works out bad, right? Great question. So Kelly says, location is Erie, Pennsylvania. I've heard of Erie, Pennsylvania. I don't know Erie, Pennsylvania, so I don't know how the market is, and I really don't know the condition of the property either. So again, in the sense of, does it sound amazing? Yeah, it sounds amazing. But normally when it sounds too good to be true, like it's a sick deal. Like I've never heard nowadays, if a person can make like 15% purchase price plus remodel, when everything's done, let's say $300,000 property, if they can make $45,000, that's a very good deal. Some people are only making $30,000 on a $300,000 deal after all expenses. So it sounds great, and if everything checks off, then awesome for you. That's awesome. If you can find any more deals, let me know. But otherwise, just check, make sure everything's it passes the smell test, and if it's good, go for it. And then you can also suggestion do a cash out refinance, right? Rent it out, cash out refi at 70%. You get all your money back plus a little bit extra, and you keep it and rent it. So it's an option for you. So now you can get rental income, and then you don't have to pay any taxes on the gains because you never sold it, and all that money you collected, you don't have to pay tax on that either, and you can use it for your next deal. So there's a tip. So guys, let's go. Give me some questions. Challenge me. I'm ready for it. Ask me any business question you have, any investing question, loan question, tax question, insurance question, personal finance, retirement question. I'm ready. All right. I'm trying to do a burn method with hard money. That's a good idea. I mean, I've done the same thing. Burn method with hard money. I've definitely done it. And I'm kind of doing it right now with the Safety Harbor project because they gave me a 5.75 rate, which is not a bad rate. But I can do better than that. And I was like, you know what? I'll just use this rate now while I do all of the work. And once I'm finished, I will then do a refinance and get my money back and probably get into a lower rate, something in like the high fives, low fours, maybe even below that. If I can get into a Fannie Freddie product, I can be in like 3.75. So pretty awesome. All right. So Martin wants to know, what's your take on buying multiple flats in the same complex or building? So, all right. Yeah, I know, Christmas tree's going. So, this is the thing with that. If you're buying multiple flats, the problem with buying condos, I like condos, but you have to be careful in the community you buy in, because if they have crazy amount of fees and they don't manage their books right, they're going to ask for extra assessments, and you got to pay for that. Part two, if you're in a community that has a lot of fees, it can leave you with very little money to make, little profit to make money. Some areas just have a lot of condos and don't have many multi-units, so obviously you're working with what you can. What I would do is just make sure you're maximizing your profit on the deals. The next thing I would do is kind of, what would I do? I would try to find flats in areas. Okay, so for everyone who doesn't know what a flat is a condo, right? It's a condo or a studio or a townhouse. So in different parts of the world, they won't call them townhouses or condos or studios. They'll call them flats. So it could be many different things. But to the point, if you're going to buy a unit that has association dues, be careful how much it is, because it will kill your profit if they're too high. Next point is that I would try to find those type of properties. Normally you're in highly dense area. Try to find it in a really good part of town where there's good hotels or a lack of good hotels where you can do Airbnb. And that's a good way to make up your money. But be careful. Some flats don't allow Airbnb, and some cities don't allow Airbnb. They have a lot of rules. So make sure you're complying with all the rules, because you would hate to buy a place expecting to Airbnb, spend all the money on furniture, do everything and make it nice, and then find out you can't even do it. So it would suck. So just make sure to double check what you're doing. So the question is, how insurance companies work, makes profit. So in the sense of an insurance agency, which is what I have 3 insurance agencies in Florida. Insurance agencies make money by selling insurance policies to people, right? Simple enough. So if you buy your auto insurance or home insurance and you pay, say, $1,000 for your home insurance, the agent gets 10%, $100 every time you renew. And that's how they make their money. Obviously, $100 is not a lot of money when you're paying for rent, staff, and everything else associated. So normally they don't make money until about 3 to 5 years, and they have to have thousands of clients for it to make sense. Now, how does an insurance company make money? Like an Allstate or a Geico. An insurance company is not actually in the business of insurance. An insurance company is actually more of an investment company. Here's a helpful tip on how premiums work. So an insurance company cannot raise your rates for your auto insurance in the state of Florida without getting approval from the state first. So they give them the new updated rates, and then they pay insurance. They can change the rates on insurance. And the state does not allow insurance company to make more than 2% profit. So this is crazy, right? So you're paying all this money in car insurance. The company can only make 2% profit. So you're thinking, if they're only making 2% profit, how are these companies making billions of dollars? Where is this money coming from? And how are they raising my rates? Well, the reason they're raising your rates is because there's so many accidents, they got to charge more money, because even the state will require them to do it. Now, where are they making their money if they're not making it on the premium? So how it works, it's really sick. It's that they're taking all of this money that these people are paying and they're bundling it up. And they don't have to pay all the money out at one shot when there's car accidents, right? They're collecting all these premiums, and then sometimes there's car accidents, sometimes there's not. So when they are doing that, they have all this extra money. And what do? They loan the money out. They invest the money in the stock market. So they're like, hey, we won't need to pay this money for 12 months. Why don't I just invest it in the stock market? And by the time comes in 12 months when they have to use that money to pay off claims, well, they already got more money coming in from new clients. So there's all this money they're investing, and they're trying to find the best way to invest them to make the most amount of money. That's where they're making the money off of, not the car insurance premium. They're basically borrowing your money for free. That is what they're doing. So that's pretty sick. So when I was figuring out, like, why did Warren Buffett buy Geico, right? He bought Geico like back in the 80s. And I kept thinking about it, and finally, like, it clicked. He bought Geico because he wanted to have all the money that they collect in premiums, and he can borrow that money for free for his investment company. It's like sick. So it's awesome. So one day I want to own an insurance company so I can borrow the money for free as well and invest more real estate. So next question. Kelly says, yep, I agree. Thanks. I'll send you info on the deal through Instagram. Cool. So as you guys know, I know I have followers here on YouTube. I only have about 700. But on Instagram, I think I have like 109,000 followers. Guys, please tell your friends to follow me on YouTube and TikTok as well. If you're not on Instagram, please follow me there as well. I appreciate all the comments, the likes, all the love, all the thumbs up, all the referrals that you're sending your clients over to follow my page. I really appreciate it. It definitely helps with being encouraging to put out more content. And if there's things you want to know, more videos you want me to put out, let me know what they are, and then I'll work on putting them out for you guys to educate you. So Abe says, let's consider a 14-bedroom deal spread across 5 buildings on 2 parcels. What kind of loan will it need? Residential or commercial? That is 100% commercial, right? Now, if the 14-bedroom deal spread across 5 buildings on 2 parcels, it depends on what is on each parcel, right? Because you could do 1 residential loan, 2 residential loans, and then a 1 commercial loan. So you can chop it up a different way. So how I did it, once I came across a property in downtown Dunedin, it was a 7-unit deal. And I was 20 years old, and I couldn't qualify for it because I didn't have 2 years of history of being a property manager. I was only doing it for about a year and a half, so I didn't have the 2-year qualification. I didn't have the money for the down payment. I didn't have a lot of factors to qualify me for a commercial loan, because you have to have a history to be able to get a commercial loan. And if you don't have a history of doing deals, they won't give you the loan. So I literally went to the property multiple times, and I wanted it so bad. I was praying. I was like, God, I don't know how to do this deal, but I know you know how to do this deal. I know you could do anything, so please, God, help me get this deal. So it hit me. I was like, okay. It's like God gave me this, it was like a light. He's like, he gave me the answer how to do it. He said, okay, you can't qualify for a commercial deal, but this property is 7 units, 2 parcels, 5 units here and 2 units here. And anything under 4 units is considered, anything under 5 units is considered residential. So I'm like, I can qualify for these 2 units as a residential loan. And the lady said she'll give me the loan for the rest of the property. The old owner said she'll give me the loan for the rest of the property as long as I come up with $100,000. So what I had about $30,000. So I took that $30,000, put it as a down payment on the duplex, got the loan from the bank, and I stated I would purchase this duplex at $140,000. So the lady got my $30,000 plus the bank's Wells Fargo's $110,000. She got $140,000, which is more than what she asked for to walk away with. And then she gave me the loan for the other $190,000 to get the other 5 units. So you can also structure the deal to make yourself win. And now that property that I bought for $335,000, those 7 units, is worth over $1 million. So be persistent and keep pushing, and you'll be able to figure a way out, right? You're not going to win every deal, but if you keep pushing and you keep faithful, you will find a way to do it. It was a good deal. I like it. God is good. So Nancy says, is it worthwhile to move money invested in an index fund from Schwab to Vanguard or someone else that is showing better returns? I mean, in the simple, basic part of, is it worth moving money to get better returns? Yes, it is worth it to get better returns. But you must consider, is there any tax implications on your sale? Right? If you're going to sell this money, is there any tax implications? If you're in a index fund, right? And is there any fees associated to moving? Who has more fees? So yeah, one might show more return, but that company also has more fees, so the net return isn't as much. So look at what is the net return, things like that. So those are the factors you really, some of the factors you need to consider, because just because someone's showing better returns, what are some of the other things to consider? And is anybody locking the money up for a period of time, right? Like an annuity, you might lock up your money. So be considerate of all factors: timing, taxes, and fees. Good question. So Tem says, how do you convert a 5-bedroom, 3-bath without democration into a separate rental in Florida? So that's tough, because you're asking me, how do you convert a 5-bedroom, 3-bathroom without separating the two? Like, I don't understand. What else would you do? Because if you're wanting to convert it, you have to separate it, right? Like, because that's basically you're either 1 unit or 2 units, right? So unless you're saying without demolishing into a separate rental in Florida, I mean, I think I need a little more clarification on your question to understand what you're saying. Andy says Chicago. Abe says, that's a gem of a knowledge. Thanks, sir. You're welcome. I mean, I've seen a lot of different things, so I'm happy to help. Learn from my mistakes and learn from my wins. Brett says, I haven't had a steady income, self-employed, for the past year, but I have $15,000 saved. Is it possible to get into a real estate investing? What do you recommend? So, can you get a regular loan because you said you haven't had steady income? I mean, steady doesn't matter. It really, how they measure your income for a owner-occupied loan is how much money did you make this year after all expenses? How much money did you make last year after all expenses? If you've done the same job, let's just say you're washing cars, and for 2 years in a row, and you have your income and then you have your expenses, what is the leftover amount each year? They're going to average that for the last 2 years, and that's how much money they're going to give you on a loan for a residential property. On an investment property, they normally don't consider your income that much. What they do consider is, are you buying a property that is profitable? And then you have to put down roughly 20 to 30%. So, and they'll cover the rest. Now, at $15,000 would kind of limit you on the type of property you can buy, right? So I would say either you have to team up with somebody to put your money with them, or you should save up your money to get more money to make it worth your while. Because if you're again, whatever money you're going to make on that deal, it's probably going to be really small, and it's going to take you so much time to do it that you working your current job and putting in extra hours there are going to make you a better return on your time, right? And then maybe you can, instead of investing your money and trying to do a deal yourself to learn, probably find someone else and just say, hey, I'll do something with you, or I'll help you in some way so you can learn from them. Do that for a few years, build up your savings, and then go out and do it. Because you really want to make sure that if you're going to go in there, you're going to put in your money, your life savings, that you're going to win. I don't do deals that I don't win. The question is, how much am I going to win? right? I could do a lot of deals now if I didn't care, if I wanted to do it as a hobby, if I didn't want to make any money. But we're not in it as a hobby, right? Do I love what I do? Yes. Do I have fun? Yes. But am I going to go do deals just to say I did a deal and make nothing out of it? No. Right? You get it. Jojo King says, big dog. That's me. Tem says, I mean, how do you convert a 5-bedroom, 3-bathroom resident into a separate door rental? You know, there's many ways you can skin a cat. Which way you skin it depends on the cat. I don't advise skinning any animals. I'm against hurting animals. But you get what I'm saying. You have to look at the building, right? When I look at a building and I decide how am I going to cut it. Like, so for the Safety Harbor project, we converted it from 7 units to 16 units. By we, I mean I decided it, but I had my people do the work. We took the cottage, this is a concrete block building, and it was really great because the guy who built the property 50 years ago, he was an engineer and did a really good job with laying things out. So this cottage is 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom. And how it is this section here is a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom. And this section here was basically maybe it's like the master, we'll call it, but it was basically a separate section that it was 1 bedroom and a bathroom. This used to be a carport, and he converted it to 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom. Now, what he also did was he put in the wall between the 1 bedroom and 1 bathroom and between the 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom unit, and let's call this now the studio, which is also 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, but it has no living room. Okay? There's a concrete block wall, and then he put a very thick door there. So what I did is I said, okay, I'm going to put 2 double doors there. It's like a hotel. So now you have a 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom with living room and kitchen here. Concrete block wall with 2 double doors. And on the other side, you have another bedroom, bathroom, and I put a kitchenette. Now, if you guys look on my Instagram or one of my YouTube videos, you'll probably see the video of the kitchenette. And you'll see, okay, yeah, this is a really cute studio. That is how we split it. Because I found the clean line to cut it. And it worked. And we're able to get good money out of a studio because we made it really, really nice looking. Where people didn't care about being it because it was so gorgeous. So you should look for a similar way to cut it. Yeah, it all depends on the layout. Jojo says, God loves you. I know he does. He loves you too. Loves all you guys. So, but yeah, definitely I want to thank God for everything that I have. I came from nothing. I came from a lot of hardships, and I was able to be here and enjoy what I do and make money and help give back and teach people, So it's definitely a blessing to be in this position, So it's actually, and honestly, you guys are all lucky too, because when I started, I didn't have people to answer me as easy as you're getting answers right now. I would have to go drive all over and try to find someone, and it was hard to find anyone that knew that much. So, we're all fortunate. Brett says, thanks for the answers. Tim says, do you have to change the zoning? You don't always have to change the zoning, right? Because in Florida, you said you're in Florida. In Florida, how it works is, say like you have a lot, and in your lot is, say, 7,500 square feet, which is like a standard lot, and that is roughly going to be 1, 2, 15, 30, 37. It's going to be about six lots per acre. So let's just say you are at 10,000 square feet. A 10,000 square feet lot is about a little less than a quarter of an acre. So you're normally allowed 7.5 units per acre in most areas, right? Sometimes you're allowed more, sometimes it's less, but let's just say on average. So you would be in like the 1.5 zone. So when you're in 1.5 units per your lot size, normally they'll kick you up. So you'll be allowed 2 units per the property. But in that, when that's going on, you have to apply for permitting and permitting and all these requests to be approved to add the second unit. Because what could happen is if you just do it on your own and you don't apply, obviously it's not on the property appraiser and you cannot sell it as a 2 unit. Now, when you're showing it, people are going to see it's 2 units and you might get some extra value for it. But if you're really looking to make the big bang when you sell, you need to get it with the city to recognize the multiple units so you can fully reflect the value added to the property and make the big money. But when you go to the city, it might take 1.5 years to get the job done. So you have to make sure that you have the time and the budget to do it. Because I was going to do a conversion, make something into a duplex, but it was 6 months alone just for the request and approval, and that's before I can even start any work. Jojo King says he doesn't love me. He does. Just, personally, a lot of times I went through a lot of hardships, right? And I'm like, why? Why, God? Like, why am I even going through this? It's so crazy. I've went through crazy times. And a lot of the times, all of my hardships really made me very strong to have the stomach and the grit and the persistency that I have today. Because if I didn't, I wouldn't be able to deal with the pressure that I am today, and I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing today. So that is strength. That is the ability to move forward. Because most people would probably have given up through all the problems you've seen that I showed you guys on Instagram that happened with this property. 2 different types of termites, right? 2 different type of foundation issues in the same property. Electrical upgrades, plumbing upgrades, AC upgrades. A lot of people might have given up, but I was confident in my purpose and my vision and what I knew I could be done. I was faithful. So try to figure out what was the reason something happened. What could I learn from this? And if you keep on thinking that way, you'll keep on finding ways to grow as a person. Because what I believe is God only does good things. He doesn't actually do bad things. He allows bad things to happen to us, but he doesn't actually do them to us. A lot of times there are outside factors that we somehow did something and it comes back and reflects on us. So we got to think, what is it that we can change? What can we do to improve things, And when we're trying to improve things, when we move forward to improve things, God will help us in our efforts to do things better. And normally when we're really low on the bottom, and I've been on the bottom before, you got to push really hard to get out of it. So, but stay faithful. You can do it. Yag Day says, nice haircut. Thanks, Yag. What is the difference between an asset and an investment? Great question. Very, very commonly confused. Everyone thinks an asset and an investment is the same thing. So, a CD is an asset and is kind of an investment. All right. Give me 1 second because I'm seeing. All right, I got 6 minutes left on my charge. 49 left. Give me 10 seconds. I'm going to go get the charger. I'm sorry for that. Thanks for your patience. So yeah, that was very professional of me. So cash is in your asset bracket, right? Cash itself is considered in your assets, right? But cash itself is not an investment, right? It kind of can be an investment if you're doing FX trading, right? You can trade your cash for euros, and that can be an investment. So that's where an asset and investment change, right? It's not necessarily the same. So, for example, if you're buying a home, your home is not actually a true investment. Can you do investments in your home? Painting it and things like that? Yes. Changing your roof? No. Because there is not a net positive reflect. There's actually a negative return on the cost of investing on a roof to your house, right? So I'm telling you this. If you spend $20,000 on your roof, your house doesn't go up $25,000 in value. Normally, you put in $20,000 in a roof, you only get about $10,000 in value. So you lost. That's why people don't call your home an investment. So that's why I said if you want to do an investment, you buy a multi-unit property. You live in one side, you rent the other sides. Now, can you buy a home very undervalued, extremely undervalued, and buy and move into it? And that could be an investment. Yes, that could be an investment. If you bought a property for $150, that's really worth $225. That's an investment because you gain the value. But now that it's trapped, and now it's an asset, okay? But it's not really an investment that's really giving you back at that point. Now it's just an asset column. It's not technically an investment. It's an asset, but it's not an asset that's investing, that's performing, right? And giving you money. So a lot of times it's cash flow. It's generating cash flow. That is normally what differentiates it and makes it into an asset that is also an investment. So, to simplify things, if it's not bringing you in money every month, it's not really an investment. Here is another very tricky example. Buying your car. The car you own is an asset. It is not an investment. Normally, you owe more on the loan than you do what the car's worth. But is it an asset in the sense of it has a value? Yes. Is it an investment where it brings you more money? No. Can you sell it for more money than what you bought it for? No. Classic cars can be an investment. If you buy the right classic car, you could buy it for less than what it's worth. And then 5 years later, it appreciated in value. You could sell it for more. That is an investment. So, you get what I'm saying? The difference is, now, how do I get around the issue of my house not being an investment? Because a lot of people, the very super wealthy will say, don't own your own home. Rent and use the money to invest in other things. I own my own home. How do I get around that? And just because a lot of us like owning our home, feels good. One, those people that are super rich are talking about homes that are $5 million, $10 million, maybe $2 million. And those properties are normally not just 20% down. They're going to put 30 to 40% down. So now they're putting down $800,000 on a $2 million home. And that's $800,000 is not returning you any money. And that's not appreciating very much. So that's why they make sense. They're like, okay, I can rent a property that's worth $2 million for a really low amount of money compared to how much 800,000 could return me. How I get around it is, again, most of us are not in a $2 million home. Most of us are in like a $500,000 home or less. So in that sense, what do? I bought the property and put down 20%. And so my home's over $500,000. So let's just say it's $500,000. 20% is $100,000. So they'd be like, well, Pascal, you still have $100,000 stuck in it. What are you going to do? You could have had the $100,000 invested in something else, another $500,000 property, and earning you a lot of return. You could just rent your house. I said it could, right? But the price how low interest rates are, my mortgage, taxes, and insurance is so low. Even having to fix the property up, if I add the maintenance expense into it, it's still lower than what I would do paying somebody to rent. So now, imagine that, but you're like, still, the return on your $100,000 would be great, and that should outpace the savings you have by owning your own home and paying less money as an owner than a renter. True. How do I counteract that? I get a home equity line of credit, and I can get one for 100% of the value of my house. So I could then get the $100,000 back. And not only that, the price of the home is worth probably like $40,000, $45,000 more than what I bought it for. So now I'm not getting a $100,000 loan, I'm getting a $145,000 line of credit. And the payment, the interest on that is so low. But now I add that interest in with the first mortgage interest and principal payment, in with the taxes and insurance, in with the maintenance of the property, and it's still less than rent. And I actually got an extra $45,000 that I'm using to invest in more deals. So what I'm going to say is this, is there's a lot of principles and a lot of concepts out there. And no one thing is 100% perfect or 100% true. You have to make an assessment, and you must measure what is the net difference on this decision and what is the net difference on that decision. And you come to a calculation, a number, and that helps you decide it. Now, let's just say you're not a good numbers person, or you need a second opinion on calculations. You can pay an accountant like myself. I have an accounting firm. We can run the numbers for you, put it on a piece of paper, and you can make an assessment to say, is this what I want to do? And you can come to that assessment, that decision. Is this what I want to do? So we can always make a determination, figure out, what is the best for you, and you can figure out for yourself. You guys are smart people. Just put it on paper. Take the time to actually think. Great question. Should I invest in Roth IRA or 401k? So YAG, I would say invest in your 401k up to what is the match that the company offers. After that, I don't find it valuable. Even though I am licensed to do retirement planning, I don't find it valuable for a person to do that. Personally, I would say invest your money in real estate. You're going to make, and there's some way many more tax advantages available out there. So I would say that is the best route for a person to take. Only do what's matching. After that, it's not worth it. Mo Coffee says, give the brother a thumbs up. I like it, guys. Smash the like button. Give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate the love. All the positivity encourages me to keep giving out more for you guys, and I want you guys to all succeed. So thanks, Mo. All right. Josh says, I joined a bit late, so sorry if your answer is this, but where do you source most of your deals, wholesalers or MLS? I source most of my deals through MLS. I've gotten a few deals with mailing out letters. It takes a very long time, and it does take a lot of money to pay for all your mailers. But when you get a good deal, it definitely pays for itself. So I would say mailers and MLS. All right, guys, let's calm down in the DM. Actually, this is not that bad compared to the IG. IG, they were crazy. Yeah, guys, thanks for all the likes. 10 likes. I love it. That's awesome. Haywood says, I also bought an i8. So how do you like your i8, Haywood? I love mine. So Kyle says, I know your market is different than mine. I'm 18 years old. My goal is to achieve 1.5 million by the age of 25 to 30. I'm bringing in 40K a year at my full-time job as a technician now. So let's start like this. First, Kyle, you're making way more money than I did when I was 18. When I was 18, I was only making $8 an hour, which works out to be about $17,000 a year. So you're making double the money I am. So first thing I'll tell you is this, is save every penny. Save every penny, right? If you're living at home, one, you should be living at home. Avoid moving out. There's no reason for you to be moving out. You're building yourself, you're establishing yourself. So, and the money you would hypothetically pay in rent if you didn't move out, you better put that into a separate account because you need to make believe like you're living somewhere, and that's a separate savings account that you're building up, and you're putting away $12,000 a year for that fake rent and electric and all those other expenses associated to be moved out. And on top of that, you can save every single dollar afterwards. By doing so, showing the money in your tax return, you'll then be able to invest that money into more deals. You buy your first multi-unit deal, fix it up, rent it out, do good. Next year, buy your next, then your next. Eventually, you'll be able to buy 2 deals a deal by your 3rd or 4th deal. So by the time you're 25, again, I started at 19, late. I only made like $8 an hour when I started, and I was able to get 23 units by the time I was 23. So you learn how to get better and better along the way, as long as you keep studying and working and staying focused. I didn't move out till I was like, basically I would do a deal, move out, be there for about 6 months, and then move back in with my parents. So I'd save money again, then move into my next property, do it again, move out, do it again, move back in. And I kept playing the game back and forth, right? So we have to play the Monopoly game the way it is. And that's how you win. But in the beginning, you got to save your money. Jojo King says, you are a great guy. Appreciate it, Jojo. Definitely do. I mean, you guys are awesome. You got 16 thumbs up. That's a lot of thumbs up. I don't think I've ever had that many. I really appreciate all the love, guys. I'm really here for you guys. And I want you guys to be successful. It's about time to wrap this up. So I want to let you know, every Wednesday at 9 p.m., I go live on IG. Every Sunday at 9 p.m., I go live on YouTube. Please bring all your questions. Bring some hard questions from me. Trust me. I worked for big firms, did big deals. So I know your hard questions. I know your easy questions. Ask about credit. Ask about your tax returns. Ask about your personal finances, your business that you want to open, or the struggles you're encountering in your business. Bring them. And even bring your mental struggles too, where you're like, how do I get over this hurdle before to take the leap? Bring all those questions, because I want you guys to be successful. And I didn't have as many people to go to, but I was fortunate to meet the right people at certain times to give me the little nuggets I needed, and I'd love to pass them along to you guys too. So please invite your friends to my YouTube station, to my IG, to my TikTok. Please share. Please always like all my videos, like and comment, because if you guys like and comment, it's going to add more. YouTube is going to push that up, and more people get to see it, and more people get blessed as well. So I'll answer these last few questions, and then I'm going to say goodnight for today, and I'll see you guys on IG tomorrow. So I'll answer these last few questions, and then I'll go for the night. So Tam says, clarification on hard money. How does payments work when you're using rental property and BRRRR? So in hard money rentals or hard money loans, you have to pay the interest each month. And then in 6 months, you got to pay back the full loan. Now, sometimes you can get a longer term hard money loan, but you have to make sure you agree to that up front. So you really need to buy, renovate, rent, and then refinance. So in that sense, normally you'll need to have like a 12 to 14 month hard money loan, because the banks will normally require you to have it rented for 6 to 12 months or owned it for 6 to 12 months before they're allowed to do a cash out refi. Good question. Haywood says, have you been to jail? No, I haven't, but I almost went to jail. So my issue was like, it's a weird story. I was not born in America. I was born in Syria, right? Came to this country when I was 3 years old, right? Have no accent, maybe a New Jersey accent. And so I grew up in New Jersey when I was a kid. So this is a crazy story. So when I was 11, I was supposed to get my green card. And basically get green card, become a citizen. I remember this meeting. They said, hey, we're applying now. And I was sitting with the immigration officer, with the family, and they said, you guys are basically going to become citizens. We're applying now. We're sending the papers in, and when they come back, you'll be good. Well, that was when I was 11, and they got lost. They got lost till I was about 25. So when it was time for me to get a license, sometimes I would be able to be approved for a license, depending on the legal climate and stuff like that. Sometimes I couldn't get a license, so I couldn't renew my license. And as far as I was concerned, they told me I'm a citizen, right? The papers are gonna come in, you're good to go. So imagine having to renew your license and you can't because you don't have any documents because they lost all your papers when you were 11 and you kept on trying to request them and they're not sending you your immigration documents. This is the story I'm told because, again, I was a kid. I don't handle any of that. And so I basically, at times, I could get my license and I could drive. And at other times when it was time to renew my license, I didn't have because of the climate and because I didn't have any immigration papers to support my statement, I couldn't renew it. I didn't have any paperwork to renew it, so I couldn't renew my license, so I was driving without a license. And I got pulled over once for driving on a expired license without knowledge. And then I got pulled over a second time a month later with knowledge. And the lady, when I went to court for it, the lady saw how many speeding tickets I had when I was younger, because I used to speed a lot. Thank God I don't have all those tickets I used to have now. And she basically said, okay, you're going to have to go to jail for 6 months. And I was like, I want a lawyer, right? 6 months jail for driving without a license, and I didn't do anything wrong. I wasn't speeding or anything like that when it happened. So I basically got a lawyer, and they kept extending it. Every month they were extending it, and the hopes were somehow, by some act of God, that I would get my papers in, and I would be able to get my immigration papers in be able to show that it was not my choice, but it was just because I didn't have the papers to renew. There wasn't anything illegal for me not to be able to renew. And literally, by some act of God, my immigration papers came in after 14 years of being lost, showing I had legal rights to be here, and I should be a citizen, and my father is a citizen, and all this good stuff. And I was able to bring it in, and they're like, oh, okay, everything's dismissed. You don't got to go to jail. And I'm like, so one, the system kind of sucks. The immigration system for sure. Two, the legal system. Going to jail for 6 months for driving with an expired license, like, that is excessive, right? And so yeah, I almost did that, and that's again another reason why I have so much faith in God, because yeah, it sucked not having papers because I couldn't work all the time and I couldn't go to school all the time because there's times I couldn't bring certain documents and that they needed because I didn't have them because they were lost. But that builds strength. That builds the will to find a way to make things work despite everything that's going on in your life. That builds the stomach that I keep telling you about, that man, I might go to jail for 6 months for something that you shouldn't have to do, shouldn't have to go for. So that's what makes me so faithful in God, that I know that when it's time, when it really comes down to it, He'll come in and take care of things for you. And along the way, you see, okay, I see why I went through this hardship is because at the end of the day, it made me better and it made me stronger. And it made me the person I needed to be for all these great things that He had planned for me. And I couldn't be strong enough for these great things, right? Like, I'm working out now again. And I said, every time I work out, I said, you know what? I just want to be consistent in the gym. I did it last when I was 22, 21. I said, you know what, God, I just really want to be consistent in the gym. And then I met Rick Chavez, world champion powerlifter. Then I met Tony Conyers, world champion powerlifter. Started working out with him. Within like a year and a half, I went to nationals, got 10th in the nation. Now again, I said the same thing. Hey, I want to get back. I'm 34. I want to get back into being consistent and working out. And started working out with Tony again. And it's only been 2 months. And he's like, yep, I'm going to take you to nationals next year. I'm going to take you to actually worlds next year. So I'm going to go to worlds and compete for powerlifting again. Because he's like, oh, you're going to do great. And my point is, one, ask for little, God gives you a lot. Two, and be faithful that God can give you a lot. And then part two is that for me right now, for me to go to worlds and my goal is to do like 500-600 pounds on my squat. You can't just go today and do that, right? You're going to break your back. Something crazy is going to happen, right? You might hurt your knees or something. But you need to build up to that pressure, right? You need to consistently put your body under that pressure. You need to put your mind under that pressure, right? You need to put your gut under that pressure. You need to build that faith. And by having the confidence and being mentally prepared, you'll be willing to push that weight and be confidently pushing that weight. Because when you're confidently pushing that weight, again, 80% of the weight is in your head. You're confidently going after those deals, working those deals and getting them closed. That is going to be a determination factor on your success. That confidence, that faith, that belief, and all the troubles you went through to build up your strength to get to that amazing life that you're going to have. For the amazing life that I have now, that I'm very thankful for. So that's that. So let's see. Next question from George says, what percentage do you account for taxes and expenses? I'm guessing property taxes. I don't account a percentage because I actually find out what the taxes are. So I put the exact amount away. Expenses, I already know what the water, sewer, garbage fees are going to be. The lawn fees are going to be. I already know those. Miscellaneous expenses instead of repairs, I'd probably put away 5 to 10% for that. Vacancy, 5 to 10% for that. Mo says, you're welcome. We got your back. Appreciate it, Mo. Joe King says, see ya. Post more on TikTok. Love ya. Not Rundell. I will attempt to post more on TikTok. I do need to be more consistent on that. And Haywood says, okay. So guys, I appreciate all the love. Thank you for all the likes. Thank you for tuning in. Invite your friends. Bring your questions. See you this Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on IG. See you next week on YouTube, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Be blessed. Good night.